Hi, this is Miss Hadi from Olympian High School. I want to teach you today about the rise of Buddhism, the establishment of Buddhism in Tong and Song China, so post-classical China. But this story starts in classical China during the Han Dynasty, which you would have learned about in ninth grade. So if you didn't take ancient world history in ninth grade, not to worry, because I'm about to just kind of recap a little bit for you. When the Han Dynasty started to fall apart, what we start to see is people losing confidence in Confucianism, and Confucianism being discredited as this faith, this tradition that could, or philosophy rather, that could create an effective government. So people started to look at other kinds of faiths, traditions, beliefs that were foreign, that were not from China. Buddhism coming from India, Nestorian Christianity coming from Southwest Asia, Manichaeism, Zoroastrianism, Islam. Originally, the people who practiced these foreign religions were foreign merchants, but over time we're going to see communities of Chinese who believe in some of these faiths. At a place called Dunhuang, which is in western China, we see a large community of Buddhists being established. Between 600 and 1000 CE, they built a lot of Buddhist temples that had artwork dedicated to the Buddha and to bodhisattvas, which are like Buddhist saints, libraries, and they even had scriptoria, places to make copies of Buddhist writings, and that's going to help to popularize Buddhist ideas in China. The other thing that popularized Buddhist ideas were that people were attracted to it because it promised salvation, and Buddhists established monastic communities that owned large estates that were donated by people who converted that were wealthy. With these large estates, that meant they owned a lot of land, and they could cultivate that land or grow food on that land. And if there was ever a problem, like a drought or a famine or other hardship, the Buddhist monasteries became really important to local Chinese peasants because they became a source of food, and that endeared them to the peasants and made them more popular and made Buddhist ideas more popular. Okay, next slide is about how Buddhism was different from some of the traditions that already existed in China. So although both Confucianism and Buddhism are text-based, Taoism, which I taught you about in the intro video, is not text-based. Buddhism focuses on metaphysics, whereas Confucianism rejects metaphysics, as we will never know what happens to us when we die. Some of these ideas, like the idea of a soul, we don't know. So let's focus on things we can try to control, like politics and ethics, doing the right thing. In Buddhism, they have an aesthetic ideal, the idea of not making babies, becoming a monk, living in isolation, being very spiritual, whereas in Confucianism, they believe in family and taking care of your family, procreation, filial piety. So this is going to cause some consternation from Confucians as they see, and from Taoists, as they see the rising popularity of Buddhism. One way that Buddhists tried to make it easier for their Chinese audiences to understand Buddhism was by mixing words from China with Buddhist ideas from India. This results in a syncretic faith, a mixed faith, sometimes called Chan Buddhism, sometimes called Zen Buddhism in Japan. And for example, they would translate the word Dharma as Tao, which existed in the Taoist tradition philosophy. Nirvana, translated as Wu Wei. You can learn about Tao and Wu Wei in the intro video. They also tried to accommodate the focus on family. For example, they said that if one son joined a monastery as a Buddhist monk, that would promise 10 generations of salvation for your family. And they de-emphasized textual study, focusing instead on flashes of insight and meditation. So in this way, Chinese Buddhism, Chan Buddhism, as we call it, is different than the Buddhism that was being practiced in India. What eventually happens is Taoists and Confucians, in a way, are jealous of the increasing popularity of Buddhism in the Tang Dynasty, and they persuade the Tang officials to start to basically close down monasteries and expel Buddhists, but not just Buddhists, also Zoroastrians, Nestorian Christians, Manichaeans. And the Tang Dynasty was motivated largely by a desire to take back the land that the monasteries had. So that is a desire to have wealth, because wealth, of course, is land, of course, is a form of wealth. And now they're not going to be able to completely destroy Buddhism. Buddhism will continue to be popular despite the Tang policy, and it won't be eradicated, but it will suffer during the Tang Dynasty period, but it's going to go on to influence, as Buddhism rises, even traditional Chinese ideas like Confucianism. Confucianism is going to change in response to Buddhist ideas.